In just a few days, the biggest sporting event on the planet will officially begin. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Millions of fans are counting down the days, the stadiums are ready, the teams are arriving. The world's biggest football stars are preparing for the most important tournament of their careers. But while most football coverage is focused on predictions, injuries and trophy contenders, a much bigger story is quietly developing behind the scenes, a story that could define the legacy of this World Cup long after the final whistle is blown. Because according to several recent reports, FIFA World Cup 2026 isn't just facing one challenge, it's facing multiple warning signs at the same time. Environmental concerns, player welfare concerns, fan experience concerns, worker disputes, scheduling issues, and growing criticism over whether FIFA's ambitious expansion plans have created problems that are becoming impossible to ignore. So the question is simple: has FIFA made the World Cup too big? Let's take a closer look. The biggest World Cup ever created. To understand the concerns, we first need to understand the scale of what FIFA is attempting. World Cup 2026 will be unlike anything football has ever seen. For the first time in history, the tournament will feature 48 teams instead of 32. Matches will be played across 3 countries, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. 16 different host cities will welcome millions of supporters from around the world. From a business perspective, this sounds like a dream. More teams mean more matches. More matches mean more ticket sales, more sponsorship, more broadcasting revenue, more global attention, and more money. But critics argue that every benefit comes with a cost, because as the tournament grows, so do the challenges, and some experts believe FIFA may have underestimated just how large those challenges could become. The climate question nobody wants to talk about. One of the biggest concerns surrounding the tournament is its environmental impact. Recent research suggests that World Cup 2026 could become one of the most carbon-intensive sporting events ever organized. Think about it. Teams will travel across a continent. Fans will fly between countries. Media crews, officials, sponsors, and support staff will constantly move between cities thousands of kilometers apart. Unlike previous World Cups hosted inside a single nation, this tournament requires enormous amounts of transportation. And transportation means emissions. Environmental groups argue that the expansion to 48 teams combined with the 3-country hosting model dramatically increases the tournament's carbon footprint. Some estimates suggest emissions could reach levels rarely seen in sporting history. Supporters of the tournament argue that FIFA is implementing sustainability initiatives, but critics say the organization's climate goals simply don't match the scale of the event itself. And that's where the controversy begins, because FIFA has repeatedly promoted the idea of creating a positive legacy, yet many observers are asking whether that promise is realistic when the tournament itself requires so much travel and infrastructure. The heat problem climate concerns don't only affect the environment, they also affect the people playing the game. Over the last few years, extreme temperatures have become an increasingly important issue in football. Hydration breaks are now common during major competitions. Players are often forced to compete in conditions that sports scientists describe as increasingly difficult. Several host locations for World Cup 2026 have already experienced significant heat concerns, and experts warn that high temperatures can affect everything from player performance to recovery and injury risk. Football is already one of the most physically demanding sports in the world. Now imagine playing at maximum intensity under extreme weather conditions. The challenge becomes even greater. For many players, this isn't just about comfort. It's about safety, and that's why discussions around heat management have become one of the most important topics leading into the tournament. The growing player injury crisis. If you've followed football recently, you've probably noticed something. The injury lists keep getting longer. Star players across Europe and South America have missed matches because of muscle injuries, fatigue, and overuse. Many coaches have started complaining about the modern football calendar, and honestly, it's not difficult to understand why. Players now compete in domestic leagues, domestic cups, European competitions, international qualifiers, Nations League matches, friendly games, Club World, and then finally the World Cup itself. The schedule never seems to stop. Critics argue the football's governing bodies continue adding more competitions without properly considering the impact on player health. The result? More injuries, more fatigue, and less recovery time. Heading into World Cup 2026, several major players are already dealing with fitness concerns, and many experts believe this could become one of the most physically demanding tournaments in football history. Fan experience concerns, of course. No World Cup exists without the fans. Millions of supporters are expected to travel across North America to watch their national teams compete. But even before the tournament begins, questions have been raised about the fan experience. Ticket prices have become a major talking point. Travel costs continue to rise. Accommodation remains expensive in many host cities. And some supporters have expressed concerns about stadium policies and event organization. Recent debates surrounding hydration policies inside venues only added fuel to the discussion. Many fans questioned decisions that appeared inconsistent with the heat-related concerns already surrounding the tournament. Although some policies were later adjusted, critics argue that these issues should have been addressed much earlier, because when millions of people attend a global event, even small mistakes can quickly become major problems. The human side of the tournament, another issue receiving attention, involves the workers who help make the tournament possible. When people think about the World Cup, they usually think about players and managers, but behind every match are thousands of workers: security staff, food vendors, maintenance crews, transport workers, hospitality employees. Without them, the tournament simply cannot function. In recent months, labor discussions and workplace concerns have become part of the wider conversation surrounding World Cup preparations. These stories rarely receive the same attention as football headlines, yet they play an important role in determining whether the event runs smoothly. Because a World Cup isn't only about what happens on the pitch, it's also about the people working behind the scenes every day. Has FIFA reached a limit? When we step back and examine everything together, a bigger pattern starts to emerge. The climate concerns, the player welfare concerns, the scheduling concerns, the fan concerns, the labor concerns. They may appear unrelated, but many analysts believe they all point toward the same underlying issue. Scale: FIFA has spent years transforming the World Cup into the largest sporting event on Earth, and in many ways they've succeeded. World Cup 2026 will break records, will attract enormous audiences, will generate billions of dollars, and it will deliver unforgettable football moments. But the larger the tournament becomes, the more difficult it becomes to manage every consequence that comes with that growth. And that's the challenge FIFA now faces. Conclusion: make no mistake, World Cup 2026 will still be incredible. The atmosphere will be unforgettable, the stadiums will be packed, the stars will shine, and billions of people will tune in from every corner of the globe. But once the tournament is over, the conversation won't only be about who lifted the trophy. People will also ask a different question. Was this expansion truly worth it? Did FIFA successfully balance growth with responsibility? Or did the pursuit of a bigger tournament create problems that football is only beginning to understand? The answers won't come before kickoff. They'll come years later, when the full legacy of World Cup 2026 becomes clear, and that may ultimately be the story that defines this tournament. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing FIFA World Cup 2026? Let me know below.